welcome everybody. Next game in the NBC game of the week, and it is from Shea Stadium. The Philadelphia Phillies taking on the New York Mets. Pitching matchup in today's game, as we move these out of the way. Right-hander Mike Bruhert, not sure how it's pronounced, against the venerable Steve Carlton of the Phillies. There you see the benches and the bullpens for both teams. We are at Shea Stadium, so I've got the stadium card over there. Let's look at the starting lineups for both teams. For the Phillies, it'll be Bake McBride, Larry Boa, Mike Schmidt, Luzinski, Hebner, Maddox, McCarver, the personal catcher for Carlton, and former Met Bud Harrelson will be at second base for the Phillies, and Carlton rounds out the lineup. For the Mets, it'll be Lenny Randle third, Lee Mazzilli in center, Steve Henderson in left, Willie Montañez at first, Tom Grieve in right, Big John Stearns the catcher, Joe Youngblood second, Doug Flynn at short, and Mike Bruhert is your pitcher batting in the ninth position. Welcome to everybody. Hello, Clay. Glad you are here because, like I said, it's good to have backup when I get a little confused on some of the rules when it may come up. Hopefully I won't get too confused, but you never know. Hello, Captain. Hello, Kenyon. Hello, Ben. And Brian B. Oh, it's Brohart? Okay, I'll go with that. Brohart. Okay. Well, this is the NBC schedule. They picked the Mets, so what can I tell you? Next week's schedule on the NBC game of the week, and I'm following, to the letter what the NBC game of the week was. It's going to be the Detroit Tigers and the Boston Red Sox from Fenway. So that'll be next Saturday. But right now we're at Shea. And first things first, we go to Shea Stadium and see what kind of weather we're going to have. Most likely it won't be a factor. It is a May 20th game. So May 20th, May Day game, 57 degrees. So I don't think we're going to make 84, but you never know. We'll roll it just to be on the safe side. Whoop, the white dot didn't go through. Let's redo that. Yeah, it's only a 9, so that's going to make it 66 degrees. So no effect for Shea Stadium. Again, I don't do wind or rain in these little NBC game of the weeks. I just stick to the temperature. So that's what we have. And Mike Brohart, you said it's Brohart, right? Brohart, is that correct? Okay, we'll go with it. Brohart. Kind of interesting how they spell that. I'm going to move these. Brian B, there you go. That's just for you. If you want to analyze them, whatever, that's who's there. Phillies only going with 4 bullpen arms, but they do have 7 guys off the bench. So Mets have 6 bullpen arms and 6 guys on the bench. And I'll keep those to the side and bring them out when they're needed, when we do pitching changes and pinch hitters and whatnot. Bake McBride will lead things off for the Phillies. He is in right field for this game, as he normally would be. And we are underway from Shea. That's a 2. Look at that room, 222. 222 switch hitter, or left hitter, I'm sorry, is McBride. So we're over here, 222. That's a 1-6-3 double play, but of course, just a 1-3 ground out with the bases empty, and about as easy as you can have it for Brohart. He gets the first out. Here's Larry Boa. I do too, Brian. That's why I do them. 604. 604 is going to be a 4-3 ground out with nobody on base. Would have been another double play had there been guys on. So 2 easy ground ball outs for Brohart. Not sure it's going to be that easy the entire game. He's just getting some good rolls. Here's Mike Schmidt. That's a 158, and that's going to be a bloop single for Schmidt. One thing I don't have this week are the little base runners. I forgot to make those for the Phillies. Got them for the Mets, but I didn't feel like I should do it for the Mets and not do it for the Phillies. So Schmidt's at first. His steal rating is only a 2. he stole 19 bases, got caught 6 times, but you got Luzinski coming up, so I'm not going to take the bat out of his hand. That's a 118, and that's a double to center field. Look at that, double to center field. And since this is issued as a position, I'm going to make the assumption, and hopefully a correct one, that we can challenge that arm. It's a double to center. So let's look at 2 things. The center fielder arm, in this case, that's Lee Mazzilli, and his arm rating is a 4. The runner on first, Mike Schmidt, his speed rating is a 2. So if we look at the challenging the arm, look at the challenging arm chart. So we need the 2 plus these 3 dice to total 4 plus the 10 because of the 4 arm. So it has to equal at least 14 or higher for him to be safe. So I'm going to roll all 3 dice, see what we get. Oh, we get a 12. So 12 plus the speed of Schmidt, which is a 2, is a 14. And that's exactly what they needed because the arm of Mazzilli is a 4. So it is exactly equal to the 14. So he's going to score. RBI double from Luzinski. And if I did that incorrectly, somebody please speak up and tell me so I can correct it. But that's the way I'm interpreting this to be played, is that he does score on that. Oh, his speed was 5. Did I misread that? Oh, you know what? I was looking at his steal rating. It was a 2. Speed was a 5, so it actually is going to be a 17. So he's definitely in there. So there you go. Sorry about that, Captain. Thank you for letting me know that. But RBI double one way or the other for Greg Luzinski, as he will come in to score. Actually, what I may do is I do like having little tokens there or something to go by. So I might get some little pawns or something just to show people on base. It won't be the logos, but it'll be, you know, some pawns that I can use via that 50-50 board game that everybody knows about. So at second base is going to be Luzinski after the RBI single, or RBI double rather. And that'll bring up the gravedigger, Richie Hebner. That is a 306. And that's going to be a strikeout to end the inning, but the Phillies get a run. And we go to the bottom of the first. It's Phillies 1 and Mets coming to bat against Mr. Steve Carlton. So Carlton is out there. And Lenny Randle will lead off for the Mets. Lenny Randle. I believe they did, Captain. I believe they did. We'll take the ring light off. I'm wondering if I looked like I had a kind of a thing here. So maybe I had too much light on here. I don't know. Is that enough light? Did that make it too dark, or is it okay now? I thought I had too much light there at one point. I can bring back the ring light and see if that does anything, but I think we're okay now. All right, so Lenny Randle will lead it off. He is a switch hitter, batting from the right side, of course, against Mr. Carlton. 368. That's a non-split, and it's going to be a 4-3 ground out. Lenny Randle is retired. Thank you, Kenyon, for that confirmation. Just so, I mean, it looks okay on my end, but I just want to make sure it's okay on you guys' end. That's all. Let's get back and make it fit here. All right, here is Lee Mazzilli. It's a 417. That's on a split side against the lefty, and he's going to strike out. He would have walked against a righty. Strikes out against the lefty. First strikeout for Carlton. 2 down, and that will send up Steve Henderson. Part of that trade with Tom Seaver in 1977. 125, and that's going to be a redirect to 325, which will redirect to a strikeout to end the inning. So Carlton strikes out 2, has a very easy first inning. Phillies lead at 1-0 going to the top of the second. And again, I don't pick these games. This is the NBC network picking these games. So if they suck or their matchups that seem like they're mismatches, then blame NBC. Here is Maddox. 472 against a righty. 472 is going to be a single. Base hit for Gary Maddox. Maddox, he stole 33 bases, so he's definitely going to be looking to get a lead. So to establish the lead, and once again, we're going to look at the chart, and to establish the lead, you need the steal rating plus the 2 dice has to be greater than or equal to 10 plus the hold rating. The hold rating on Bruhart's is 0, so it just has to be 10. Well, the steal rating is a 3. So these 2 dice plus 3 have to equal 10 or more. But they don't, so he cannot get the lead. How about that? Thought he could get it, but he did not. So Maddox will hold. And here's Tim McCarver. That's a 354. And that's going to be an infield single for Tim McCarver. How about that? First and second, nobody out for Bud Harrelson. Normally you think maybe a bunt situation, but the pitcher's coming up, so you kind of would be kind of weird to bunt with a number 8 hitter. So they're going to have Harrelson swing away. Ooh, 687. 687. And that is a single plus. So everybody moves up 2 bases. The run scores. The run on first goes to third. And the Phillies take a 2-0 lead. And the Mets may be going to their bullpen early and often. 2-0. Still nobody out. And now we have Steve Carlton batting. And his contact is a 6. His eye is a 3 if it gets to his card, if it gets to that batting card. So we'll just leave that there so you can see the contact and the eye. But would they just have him bunt instead, I wonder, is the question. Oh, he was a pretty good hitter. They're going to let him swing away. Infield for the Mets is in. That's a 448, so we're going to the eye rating, which is a 3. So a 3 and a 448 is a pop-up to third base. He's a lefty batter, so we're using the F5. So he's going to foul it out to third. Pop it up, foul it out, however you want to look at it. So Carlton is out. 1 away, and that's going to flip it over to Bake McBride. Now a double play will get them out of the inning. That's a 527. That's bad news for the catcher, Stearns, because that 7 is a high number. And that could very well be a pass ball or who knows what. 527, though, is actually going to be a walk. It will not be a pass ball. It will be a walk. And that will load the bases. So Bruhert digging himself a hole he may not be able to get out of. Here's Larry Boa. Bases full of Phillies. Infield looking for the double play. That's a 581. That's much better for the defense because of that blue 1. Lee Mazzilli, who's a very good defender in center field. That 581 is a fly to center, and I believe that this notation means the runner on third has to challenge the arm. Question mark and exclamation point means this guy has to go. Doesn't mean he's out. It just means he's got to challenge. If I'm reading that correctly, it means he has to challenge. Mazzilli's arm is a 4. The runner on third is McCarver. McCarver, his speed is a 2. So we have a 2 versus a 4 arm to challenge the runner or challenge a throw. So once again, we're right back here. So the arm of Mazzilli is a 4, so that makes that a 14. So these 3 dice plus 2 have to equal 14 for him to be safe. That's a 10, 11. That's not going to cut it. The 11 plus the 2 speed is only a 13, so he's going to be out. It's going to be a double play. So fly to center for out number 2, and in a double play, it's going to go 8-2 as Stearns puts on the tag, and McCarver is retired. And once again, if I did that incorrectly, somebody please let me know. Especially Clay, if you're here, let me know that I did that correctly. Or if I didn't do it correctly, tell me that either. So I can go either way on that. As far as I got it, he's out at the plate because Mazzilli's arm was a 4. He needed to beat 14, and the 2 speed and these 2 dice only total 13. So he didn't quite make it. Runner has to tag, and he is out. Okay, double play. Question mark parentheses means he has. Question mark exclamation point rather means he had to try to tag and score. And McCarver, unfortunately, not a good runner, and Mazzilli a good arm. So ergo, you get your double play. But the Phillies do score a run, and they take a 2-0 lead. Going to the bottom of the second. That might be enough for Carlton the way he can pitch. Although he was only 16-13, but a good ERA of 2.84. See what he can do here in the bottom of the second. Willie Montañez. Hello, Ron. Good to see you. Hello, Scooney. So here's Montañez, first baseman. That's a 358. And that's going to be a single, infield single for Willie Montañez. Look at that. Infield single, Montañez. So Montañez with an infield single. Not going to try anything. Carlton has an excellent hole rating of 8. So that definitely can keep the running game down a bit, particularly when you're down 2-0. Here's Grieve, 302 for Grieve, and that is a strikeout. Didn't need a redirect there. It is a straight old strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Carlton. And that brings up John Stearns. 447 against a lefty. 447 is a single to center field. And again, because the center fielder is listed, you can challenge if you wish. However, the center fielder arm, Gary Maddox, has a 4 arm. And the runner at first, Montañez, runs at a 4 as well. So these 3 dice would have to equal 10 or higher. It is a good challenge because if you can get to third with less than 2 outs, you can do something. So they're going to go ahead and challenge despite being down 2-0. Mets have to be aggressive in order to stay in this game. So the arm and the speed are both identical, tied at 4. So these 3 dice have to basically equal 10 or higher. And they do. They equal 13. So he will get to third base. Now it says, let's see here. Now, can the batter, I don't guess the batter can the batter, well, Stearns is the batter. He's not much of a runner, but does he have the option to go to third on the throw? Let's see, runner advance. I don't think he has any kind of option to move up on that, but I could be wrong. I don't want to miss anything, but I don't believe he does. His speed is a 4. So I challenged the outfielder arm, Maddox, and made it to third successfully. Does the batter have a provision to move up on the throw, or does he just stay where he is? I'm assuming he stays where he is, but I want to make sure before I move on. So I'm assuming he has to stay where I'm going to play it that he's staying where he is. And that brings up Joel Youngblood. Youngblood. That's a 6-0-4. Turns into 6-14 with the home team batting. That's a strikeout. But at least he saved a double play. Would have been a double play without that. That would have ended the inning, but at least the Mets are still have a chance. There are 2 outs. And Doug Flynn is your batter, number 8 hitter. .374, and that's going to be a pop up to first, and that's going to end the inning. So the Mets leave 2 on, could not score them, and we go to the third. It's still 2-0 Phillies. He stays at first. Thank you. That's what I thought. I didn't want to read anything into it, and I didn't want to assume anything, particularly since it was a catcher. I realistically didn't think he would, but I like to cover all the bases, pardon the pun. All right, so here is Mike Schmidt. If I'm going to show a game, I want to show it correctly. All right, here is Schmidt. .295, and that's a deep drive to left field for Mike Schmidt, which is bad news. Bad news all around. That's a 9 on the power rating. Deep drive to left. We're going to add the dice to the 9 and see what happens. We get a 7, so that's a total of 16. It's just a deep fly to left, though, so couldn't quite get all of it. It's Schmidt, so he will hit a deep drive to left field, but not deep enough, and there's 1 away. Despite his 9 power rating, he did not get quite enough on it. Remember that Shea Stadium is kind of a pitcher's park, so had that been in maybe Veterans Stadium, that might have been a home run. You never know. Here's Greg Luzinski. He had the RBI double first time up. 687. 687 is going to be a single for Greg Luzinski. So he's 2 for 2. And that'll bring up Richie Hebner. Luzinski is no threat to steal, obviously. He did have 8 on the season, but he got caught 7 times. So not going to push our luck here. No whammies. All right, thanks for that, Clay. Page 17, I'll make a note of that. Here's Hebner. 577, that's a fielding check, but that 7 in blue does not bode well for left fielder Steve Henderson. That 7 in blue is going to turn this into a straight out double. Straight out double. Double to left. But again, Luzinski does not run well at all, and there's only 1 out. Left fielder Henderson's arm is a 6. So they're going to hold Luzinski. They're not going to push their luck on that one. Luzinski's speed is a 2 and his arm was a 6, so it would not have been a good challenge, I don't believe. So second and third, 1 out. Infield's going to come in for the Mets. Hello, Captain Carl. Good to see you. Got 2 captains in here. Captain Von, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, Onden, and Captain Carl. Good to see all the captains here. All right, infield is in. 678. 678 is a bloop single to first. Bloop single right here. So runner with a bloop single and less than 2 outs, the runner on second cannot score. You had to wait and see if the ball was going to be caught. So Hebner has to stop at third. But it's an RBI single as Luzinski will score, and it's 3-0 Phillies. And now the Mets bullpen starts to loosen. And we'll look again at their bullpen options for the Mets. They have from the right side Cornejo, Lockwood, Metzger, and Murray. From the left side, Coble and Siebert. So lots of arms out there if they choose to go that route. McCarver is the batter. Bruhert is scheduled to lead off next inning, so they'd like to get him at least through 3 innings if possible. And again, this is 1978, not 2024 or whatever, so not going to be yanking the pitchers all that, as frequently as he did do these days. Infield looking for the double play on McCarver. 254. It's a lefty. That's going to be a single plus, so that's going to put another run on the board. Stopping at second is Maddox. You need a plus to get to third. The plus means a run on second would have scored, but the run on first only gets one base. So RBI single makes it 4-0 favor the Phillies. Still only one out for Bud Harrelson. $5.20, so that should be an easy play for the defense for Big John Stearns. He might even frame a strikeout, and that's exactly what he does. $5.20, he frames that strikeout just right. And Bud Harrelson, former Met, is not happy about that. But umpire tells him to go sit down, as they say. And Steve Carlton is the batter. He has contact of 6 and an eye of 3. Keep those in mind. 2 down now. Carlton the batter. We get a 241. So Carlton bats left-handed. 241 is a pop-up to third, and that's going to end the inning. And that's going to end the day for Bruhert. He's only going to make it 3 innings, giving up 4 runs. So 3 innings pitched. How many hits to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits in the 3 innings. 4 runs. They were all earned. He walked 1, and he struck out 2. Not the best outing in the world. We need a pinch hitter now for Bruhert as we go to the bottom of the third. Rather than the pitcher spot is due up. So let's look at the bench and see who the pinch hitters are for the Mets. You would think they would go with a right-handed pinch hitter. Could be Bobby Valentine. Could be Elliot Maddox. They got some guy named Ferrer that I've never heard. Sergio Ferrer that I've never really heard of. Not a very good hitter. So they're going to go with Bobby V. Bobby V is going to pinch hit, and then they got to figure out who's going to come in and pitch. But right now, Bobby V is your batter, your pinch hitter, Bobby Valentine. He will pinch hit. And in the bullpen, we'll see who's got the most, who's got some decent stamina out there. They're all stamina 1s. The right-handers are. Coble is a stamina 2 as a lefty. Got come up McBride. Yeah, they're going to go with Kevin Coble. He will be the new pitcher for the Mets in the top of the 4th inning. Kevin Coble. I'm assuming it's pronounced Coble and not Cobell. I'm going to go with Coble until somebody tells me differently. All right. Pinch hitter, Bobby Valentine. Hello, Robert. Hello, Doug. Good to see all of you. All right, so Phillies lead at 4-0. Bobby Valentine pinch hitting for Bruhert here in the bottom of the third to lead off. That's a 674, but the home team's batting, so it turns to 684. And 684 is a base hit for Bobby Valentine. 674 would have just been a wild pitch, but the home team, home cooking, he gets the base hit. So Bobby Valentine, a pinch hit single. Not much speed, only a 2, so he's not thinking about doing anything except staying on base and trying to come around to score. Back to the top of the order is Lenny Randall. Carlton facing Randall. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Coble. Okay, that's what I'm going to go with. Thank you, Brian B., for the confirmation. We get a 248. 248. Randall switcher to being right-handed, so 248 comes this way. And that's a deep drive to left field off of Carlton. His power rating, though, is a 0, so not very much power for Randall. Maybe he can just get a hit. It's a deep drive to left. If he can get something into He's got a good chance to get a single, put it that way. That's an 11. That's a double. Run on first has a chance to score. But again, Valentine, not much of speed and down 4-0. There was no thing there that says you have to challenge. It gives you the option to challenge. And of course, with nobody out, it would be foolish to challenge. So Lenny Randall with a double off of Carlton. Valentine sneaks to third. And maybe now that Robert is here, RJL is giving the Mets some good karma. They're starting to come back. Got to bring up Mazzilli. Infield back. They need outs. That's a 404. 404 against the lefty is a walk. So it's going to load the bases. Bases are full of Mets with nobody out. And it brings up Steve Henderson. I'm sorry, it's Mazzilli, not Henderson. How did he get up there? Should be Mazzilli, not Henderson. What did I do with Mazzilli's card? I took him out to check an arm rating. Now I can't figure out what I did with him. Where'd you go? There he is. So Mazzilli is up with the bases loaded and nobody out. If you're the Mets, that's the guy you want up there. He's your best hitter. I'm sorry, Mazzilli was the one that walked. I'm getting confused here. Okay, Henderson now is the guy. Mazzilli's the one just walked. So now Henderson is up. Bases loaded, nobody out. That's a 617, turns into a 627. 627 is a pop-up to short. So everybody's got a hold. One away. And now that brings up Montañez. Carlton trying to get out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation. No, infield double play depth, Captain. They're up 4-0. There's no reason to have the infield in. Bases loaded, you got to force it any base. That's a 325, and that's a strikeout. So Carlton says, I don't care where you play the infield, I'm just going to get out of it myself. That's strikeout number 5 for lefty. And now it's up to Tom Grieve, right fielder for the Mets. That's a 472 against the lefty. 472 is going to be a 5-4-3 double play, but really just a 5-4 ground out because there were already 2 outs to begin with. 5-4 fielder's choice, and the Mets leave the bases loaded and do not score. And we will get a double switch, so don't look, Robert. But we're going to take out Tom Grieve and put the pitcher spot in that number position. The 5th position will now be the pitcher, Kevin Coble. He will be batting in the 5th position. Grieve will come out, and we need a new right fielder. And it looks like it might be Elliot Maddox. Thinking that's the obvious choice here. New right fielder is Elliot Maddox, and he will bat in the 9th position. So Elliot Maddox is your new right fielder. He bats 9th. See, Robert, double switches are nice and clean and easy, and they work out wonderfully. And, you know, don't knock it till you try it, as they say. All right, so let's get that out of here. Now we got Maddox off the board. So for the Mets, they have 3 lefties on the bench: Beauclair, Hodges, and Cranepool, and a switch hitter, Ferrer, whatever his name is. And they have 1 lefty, Siebert, and then Cornejo, Lockwood, Metzger, and Murray in the bullpen. Due up for the Phillies, it will be the top of the order, Bake McBride, lefty on lefty matchup with Kevin Coble. 4-0 Phillies, top of the 4th. That's a 308, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Coble gets McBride on strikes, 1 away. Brings up Larry Boa. .653. That's a 5-3 ground out. Easy play for the third baseman Randall. 2 up, 2 down. And that brings up Schmitty. That's a 351, and that is a strikeout. So how about that? Coble comes in and 1, 2, 3 innings, strikes out 2. And we go to the bottom of the fourth. Still 4-0 Phils. And Carlton will be facing Big John Stearns. It'll be Stearns, Youngblood, and Flynn. If anybody gets on, Elliott Maddox. Hello, Brandon. Good to see you. Well, RJL, believe it or not, the Mets are leading the East, because I'm using Digital Diamond, and it's producing some weird results right now. But hopefully, by the time the year is out, it'll level out. But right now, Digital Diamond is not exactly Stratomatic, so to speak. Still early though. So 481 for Stearns against the lefty is going to be a deep fly to center. Out number one. One down. Joel Youngblood, the batter. Yes, they have the Mets leading the East. In fact, I have to bring up, I don't want to get into that right now. I have to bring up the steam and all that stuff. I don't want to. Yes, you are correct, Robert. That's why I'm questioning the results. Here's Youngblood, 142. And that's going to be a redirect to 342. And 342 is a deep fly to right. That's out number two. I don't have this game in Stratomatic or Replay PC, so it's either Digital Diamond or it is Pocket Pennant. And Pocket Pennant was crashing on me too much, so I had to default to Digital Diamond. So here's Flynn. 147. That's a redirect to a 347. And that's going to be a 6-3 ground out to end the inning. If it gets too gnarly, I'll just default to what the original real life things were and just play the Dodgers and Phillies if it gets real bad in the NLCS. If it gets too unrealistic, if it has like the Mets playing the Padres or something, then I'll definitely, take some corrective action, so to speak. Here's Luzinski. He is singled and doubled. That's a 100. It's a redirect to a 300, which will be a strikeout. It's a Coble with his third strikeout. Faced 4 batters, struck out 3 of them. Maybe he should have started the game. I do, Ben, but I don't have the 78 season. Oh, no, I have Action PC. Yes, I do have Action PC. I do have the 78 season. I do, yes. But there's no direct entry in Action PC, so I can't put this game as I played it. I would have to sim it. So, I could do that, but I really like to input the games I play manually into the computer, which I can do in Digital Diamond. All right. Coble to Hebner. 101. That's a redirect to a 301. Another strikeout. That's going to end the inning. No, I'm sorry. That's the second out. My bad. But he struck out 4 of the 5 he has faced. And here's Gary Maddox, who is 2 for 2. That's a 548. That's bad news. That blue 8 there is not going to do well for the second baseman, Youngblood. So we'll go to his card. 548 is actually going to be an error on Youngblood, E4. Error on Youngblood. So E4. And that will put Maddox at first base with 2 outs. Hello, Bart. Good to see you. And Clay, this is probably in the rule book somewhere, and I'm just haven't had a chance to delve into it. But I noticed Gary Maddox here on his chart here has no provision for an error in this bracket here. But I'm sure there's some place on the game where he can make an error. Is that coming from somebody else's batter card that's going to give him an error? Or is there somewhere else I need to look? Because I know Maddox has to have a chance to make an error somewhere. But right now, he's on this part here, he is not listed as being able to make an error. Just curious. I mean, I can look it up later, but yeah, I guess I might do that, RJL. Rare plays. Okay, gotcha. Oh, now Tabby is chimed in. She was in here the whole time being quiet. Come here, Tabby. Now she wants to make noises. Are you going to invade or what? All right. Knocked over my base runner, but that's okay. All right. She got her 5 seconds of attention. Now we can move on. Here's McCarver. Overthrows Bruhert. Good point. Yes. So here's McCarver. That is a 131, and that's going to be a 1-3 ground out to end the inning. So Kevin Coble, 2 shutout innings. He will need relief after this, even if they don't get to a spot in the order, because he is 5 spots, actually 6 spots away from hitting. Maybe 5 spots. Actually, six spots away from hitting. So if he goes next inning, he will be subject to fatigue, because that'll be his 3rd inning, and he's a fatigue of 2. Hello, Jim. Good to see you. All right, leading off will be Elliot Maddox. He came in on that double switch. So this will be his first at bat of the game. We got a 361, and that's no split. 361, 5-3 ground out. Easy play. Maddox is retired. Brings up Lenny Randall, top of the order. They're going to try to get 3 innings out of Cabell if they can. 5:35. That'll be interesting. First baseman, Richie Hebner. What does that 5 look like? 5:35 is a 3 unassisted. So he just did get it. 5:36 would have been a hit. But 3 unassisted by Richie Hebner. And that retires Randall for out number 2. And here's Lee Mazzilli. .249. Again, Mazzilli's a switch hitter batting right-handed. So a .249 is a deep drive to left field for Mazzilli, and his power is a 7. So we're going to add 7 to these 2 dice and add up what we get here. 7 into 7 is a 14. It's just a deep fly to left. So just a loud final out of the inning by Lee Mazzilli. And Carlton is cruising through 5. We go to the top of the 6th. It is still 4-0 Phils. And despite being subject to fatigue now, Coble was going to come out for a 3rd inning. Why not? He's pitched 2 shutout frames. Why wouldn't he? And he gets to face the bottom of the order. Harrelson, Carlton, and then McBride. .672. 672 should be easy play for left fielder Steve Henderson. 672 is a fly to left. Easy play. 1 down, and here is Carlton. That's a 242, and Carlton bats left-handed. 242 is going to be a redirect to a 582. So a 582 redirect takes us to Mazzilli, and a 582 is a fly to center, and that's 2 down. I really like the redirects. It's nice, the little idiosyncrasy in the game. It makes it, one of the things that makes it stand out is the redirects. Here's McBride. Hello, Mr. Chris. We get a 581. That should be an easy play for Mazzilli. Once again, that blue 1 being a low number. 581 is another fly to center, and Coble has done it. He has gone 3 shutout innings in relief, keeping the Mets in the game. You are welcome. I was working yesterday, so it took me a while to answer you. All right, so Coble is done. He went 3 innings. Let's do his numbers. 3 innings pitched. He gave up no hits, no runs. The only base running allowed was an error by the second baseman, Youngblood. Other than that, he didn't give up anything. Struck out 2. So stellar performance out of Kevin Coble. But Coble will now be the third man to bat in the inning, so they will need a pinch hitter. Unfortunately, the Mets have used all the righties that they had. They do have that switch hitter, but he's a terrible hitter, so I don't think you're going to use him. They're going to probably have to default and use a lefty. And their lefties aren't too good either. Beauclair's 224, Kranepool's 210, Hodges is 255, but he is the backup catcher, so I don't really want to use him. So I'm thinking we're going to be using Ed Kranepool, the veteran, to pinch hit. So it'll be Kranepool that does the pinch hitting here in the 6th inning. But first of all, it's going to be these two guys, Henderson and Montañez. So we will come over to our little board, and Kranepool will be used as a pinch hitter. And then we got to figure out who's going to come in and pitch. Could be Murray, not sure. We'll see. All right. Carlton to Henderson, 553. That should be an easy play for Schmitty. A 553, it would have been a double play if anybody had been on base, but simply a 5-3 ground out, and Henderson is retired. That will send up Willie Montañez. When the Mets didn't score in the 3rd inning with the bases loaded and nobody out, I think it kind of took the starch out of them. They don't have much fight left in them, apparently. 526. Now, it's interesting from McCarver. This could be a walk or a pass ball or whatever. 526 is actually going to be a walk. So McCarver, unable to frame that pitch. It will turn into a base on balls. And that will take us to the pinch hitter at Kranepool. So Kranepool is in. Pinch hit. Even though it is lefty-lefty, they don't really have much choice. That's a 672 turns to a 682, and that's a single plus. Look at that. So Kranepool comes through in the pinch. That plus will send the runner to third base. So runners at the corners with one out. So let's say the Mets don't have any fight left in them. Here they come. But we've seen this movie too, where they left guys on base. So we'll see what Stearns can do. Infield looking for the double play. That's a 635, turns to a 645. And the 645 is a 4-6 fielder's choice. The run's going to score. So the run will score on the 6-4 fielder's choice. Kranepool is out at second, gives Stearns an RBI ground out as Montañez comes around to score. Cuts the lead to 4-1. And that brings up Youngblood now with 2 outs. 220 against the right-hander. 220 is a single plus. Look at that. So that's going to put runners at first and second. Would have been a ground out against a lefty, but against a righty, it turns into a single. So first and second, 2 down for Doug Flynn. Five. Oh, that 9's terrible for Larry Boa. That's not a good look at all. 5, and that's a single to left field. Single to left field. The runner, Stearns, though. Well, it's Luzinski. Can you challenge Luzinski's arm? His arm is only a 3, so I think they're going to do it. I think you have to. Stearns' speed is a 4. Luzinski's arm is a 3, so he's got the advantage there. Just needs these 3 dice to total 9 or higher. He's a 4 speed against a 3 arm, so he's got the advantage. And he definitely is going to get in there. That's a 13, so the 13 and the 4, 17 is definitely beating the 13, so he scores. So an RBI single off the bat of Doug Flynn. Cuts the lead to 4-2 as Stearns motors around and beats the throw from Luzinski. Youngblood stopping at second with 2 outs, and Elliot Maddox, the batter. Maddox grounded out his first time up. Hello, Michael. Good to see you. Carlton now, 599. That's terrible. That is awful for the right fielder in this case, Bake McBride. A 599 is a single plus. So the runner on second is going to score. The runner on first has an option to challenge if he wishes. Doesn't have to. Does have the option to challenge if he wishes. Scoring from second is Youngblood. It's now a 4-3 game. Flynn, check his run rating. McBride's an arm of 4. Flynn is a speed of 1, so they're not going to challenge that. They're going to keep him at second. He's in scoring position already. But it is now a 4-3 game. And now Lenny Randall is up. .219 against the switch hitter batting right-handed. .219 is a single plus, and that will tie the score. Coming into score is Flynn. It's 4-4. All of a sudden, I talked about the Mets not having any fight, and here they come. It is a 4-4 ball game. Ninth man to bat in the inning is Lee Mazzilli. That's a 187, and that's going to be a walk. So it's going to load the bases. Mets have batted around. Steve Henderson, who led off the inning, is coming back up to the plate. As we flip the order completely over, bases are full of Mets with 2 outs. Boy, Carlton needs to regroup here. That's 96. That's trouble right there for McBride. 596, but he does make the catch. It would have been a sac fly, but there were already 2 outs. So he does make the catch, but a 4-score Abraham Lincoln inning for the Mets. And oddly, Steve Henderson makes 2 of the 3 outs in the inning. But the Mets have tied this ball game at 4 apiece as we head to the top of the 7th. And the Mets need a new pitcher, and I believe it's going to be Dale Murray, but we'll double check it. Yep, Dale Murray, the right-hander, is going to step up, but we probably will have a double switch again because he's set to bat. Well, you know what? He's got a stamina 1, so we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to let him pitch this inning and be done with it. His job is to pitch the 7th inning, and that's it. So we're not going to double switch. So Dale Murray, and his job is to face the heart of the order, Boa, Schmidt, and Luzinski. Here in the top of the 7th, tied at 4. That's a 588. That's bad news from Mazzilli. That 8 there does not look good for him. 588 is a single plus. The runner could challenge if he's on first, but he's not on first. So it's just going to be a single for Larry Boa. Now, Boa stole 27 bases, caught only 5 times. Hold rating, though, on Murray is a 6. And to get the lead, you take the steal rating, which is only a 1. He's got to beat the 6 with 2 D6s. So he's got to beat these two have to total 15 or higher for him to get the lead. And they don't. It's only a 14. So cannot do it. Boa cannot get the lead. So he will hold, and Mike Schmidt is your batter. .694. That doesn't look good. 694 is going to be a double for Mike Schmidt. No challenge because there's no outfielder listed. So it's second and third with nobody out. And after the brilliance of Coble, Dale Murray is crapping the bed. Infield's going to have to come in unless they want to walk Luzinski intentionally, which they may do. I think they will. They will give Luzinski the free pass and set up the force at any base. All right, Robert, if you're still around, do you play the infield in with nobody out and the bases loaded and a tie score? Or do you play back for a double play, try to get 2 outs and minimize the damage to 1 run? I will let you be the manager since you are a Met fan. I will play it however you list it. Mr. Robert, I will give you that opportunity. Infield in. Okay, the infield is in. Infield is in. Nobody out. 313, and that's going to be a strikeout. That's a huge strikeout to get. Now, with 1 out, do you still play the infield in, or do you play back for the double play? Now, a double play does get you out of the inning. So if you want to remove the infield back to double play depth, we will do it. If you want to leave him in, we'll do that too. For Gary Maddox, he is singled twice and reached on an error. Infield is still in. Okay. 414 against a right-hander. 414 is a 5-4 fielder's choice on the card. Now with the infield in, I'm not sure how to play that. So let's see if I can check. Bring the infield in. So let's see. Bringing the infield in. Does a 5-4 ground out turn into anything else? The runner on third. Who was on third? Larry Boa. He would be going on contact for sure. Maybe Clay can help me on this one. I'm not sure how to play that. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. That's bunt defense. My bad. Or does that mean it? That's bunt defense, though. Corners in, not infield in. Well, it says here, playing the infield in also changes these out results. 5-4 turns into a single plus. That's what I'm reading right here. And if somebody can confirm it for me, that's what I'll go with. But 5-4, that's what we got. 414. 414 is a 5-4 ground out. But according to this, with the infield in, 5-4 becomes a single plus. So it is a single plus, which means 2 runs will score. Run on second and run on third. So Schmidt and Boa both score. Mets now take a 6-4 lead. Luzinski will stop at second base. Maddox with his 3rd hit of the game. He's bucking for player of the game. He's got 3 hits already. Murray in deep trouble. Here's McCarver. Run would have scored, yes, but there would be 2 outs right now. So you balance the risk. It's all about risk. Phillies take 6-4 lead. If I said that the other way around. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold the phone. 5-4 is just on the ballpark card. All right. So you're Clay. Are you saying with the infield in, if we don't go to the ballpark card, that we keep the original result of the 5-4? Well, let me bring it back up here. The original result was a 5-4 ground out with the bases loaded and 1 out. So I think what you're telling me is that this only applies if we go to the ballpark card. But since we're on the Maddox's card itself, we're going to keep the 5-4 result, which means the out is recorded and a run scores. Is that correct? I'm assuming that's what you're telling me, because it's not shaded like it is on the ballpark card. So I'm assuming that's the way it is. So I'm going to need to fix my score sheet. Page 11. Let's see what page 11 says. Go to page 11. That's why it's so helpful to have. Okay, keep the 5-4. Okay, there we go. What is on page 11? Is that talking about the ballpark? Yeah, stadium. Okay, stadium card changes. Yep, that's exactly where it is. Yep. All right, so good to go. Just want to get it correct, even if it takes a couple seconds. I'd rather delay it a few seconds and get it right. So it's a fielder's choice. It's still an RBI for Maddox. But scoring is Boa. Going to third is Schmidt. He does not score. He goes to third on that fielder's choice. So it was a 5-4 game. And Luzinski is out. 5-4 on the fielder's choice for out number 2. All right. Now we got McCarver up. Murray to McCarver. 136. And that's going to be a fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. So just the 1 run for the Phillies. Since it did not occur on the ballpark card, the infield in was not quite as punishing. Phillies do get the 1. That's going to be it for Murray. He's out of here. He goes 1 inning. Not very well either. 1 inning, gives up 2 hits, a walk and a strikeout, and a run. And they will pinch hit for him. Carlton will come back out. He is fatigued, but he will come back out. And it's going to be Montañez, a pinch hitter for Murray. And that looks like Bruce Beauclair to me will be the guy. So it's going to be Montañez, Beauclair, and Stearns due up for the Mets. So it's Montañez, Beauclair, and Stearns are the 3 batters coming up here in the bottom of the 7th for the Mets as they trail like I said, when bases loaded, he has to go on contact. There's no, option there. He's forced, so he had to go. All right, so 7th inning stretch time, which means we are headed to take me out to the ball game. I'm going to check on Tabby, see if she wants to go. It looks like she wants to leave the room, so I'm going to let her out, and we'll have our 7th inning stretch as I stretch to let Tabby out. Here you go, Tab. So it's time for the 7th inning stretch. All right, 7th inning stretch is in the books. And we are headed to the bottom of the 7th. And looking at who the Mets have remaining, they're going to be using Beauclair to pinch hits. That leaves Ferrer and Hodges on the bench. And the bullpen looks like they are going to be turning to either Skip Lockwood or Metzger. Or Marty actually they're going to turn to Marty Cornejo. He's got the better ERA. So Marty Cornejo is going to be the pitcher for the Mets in the 8th inning. Marty Cornejo. That will leave Lockwood, Metzger, and Siebert on the bench or in the bullpen for the Mets. Carlton is subject to fatigue. So we look at the Phillies bullpen. They have Brewster, Garber, Reed from the right side, and Tug McGraw from the left side. So it looks to be that we're going to have Ron Reed loosing in the Philly bullpen just in case Carlton falters a little bit. I agree, RJL. That's why That's why I dropped the Cincinnati Reds history maker, because it just wasn't getting the views, wasn't getting the interest, and I'd rather play games that people want to see. So, I mean, I love history maker baseball. It's a great game. I can play it on my own offline. So that's just the way it is. All right, here's Montanez. That's a 293, and that's a deep drive to right field from Montanez. Montanez has a 6 power rating with a deep drive to right field. We're going to add 6 to these. Be tough to get the home run, but he might get a base hit. Well, 6 and a 17 is a 23. It's not going to be so tough to get a home run anymore, will it? That's gone. Willie Montanez. Willie Montanez. Willie Montanez just goes deep. The deep drive to right, that's a 17. We add it to the 6 power. It's a 23, and it's gone. So just like that, we got a tie game. It is a 5-5. It is now a 5-5 ball game as Willie Montanez comes through. And now Beauclair, your pinch hitter. That's a 207. Redirect. No, it's not a redirect. My bad. It's a strikeout against the lefty. But the Mets didn't have any righties, so they had no choice. So Beauclair is out of there. Here's John Stearns. Ron Reed is ready if the Phillies need him, but Carlton is scheduled to bat second next inning, so they'd rather get Carlton through 7 innings if possible. 576. That's going to be interesting for Wheels Luzinski with a 6, the blue 6, and that's going to be a double off the bat of John Stearns. How about that? Stearns doubles. They may not be able to wait around for the 8th inning. Carlton may have to go. He's already given up 2. It ought to be a plus 20 on the fielding chart or the stadium chart because of, giving up the 2 hits and the run and all that. So we may see a double switch. I think we are. We will see the double switch. Since Carlton's no longer pitching, that means that Tim McCarver no longer needs to be catching. And he made the last out last inning. So there will be a double switch. There will be a double switch. Carlton is out. Ron Reed will be coming on. And Bob Boone will take over as the catcher and bat in the number 9 position. So it'll be Harrelson, Reed, and Harrelson, Boone, and McBride in the 8th inning. So Boone will catch and bat 9th, and Reed will pitch and bat 7th in the order on the double switch. So that's all for Carlton. Can't close the book because he could take the loss because he's responsible for John Stearns on base. Ron Reed will try to alleviate that. Carlton does go 6 and a third. He hits to give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I got him for 11 hits. The 1 home run from Montanez. Walks and strikeouts. He walked 2, 3. I've got him for 3 walks. Strikeouts. He struck out 5 in the first 3 innings. Only struck out once after that, so 6 total strikeouts. So now, new pitcher Ron Reed will be facing Youngblood. So just so you're secure on the scorecard, Boone is now batting 9th and catching. Reed is now batting 7th and pitching. And McCarver is out of the game. So Youngblood facing Ron Reed. That's a 250. Youngblood's a righty. 250 is a strikeout for Ron Reed. Big strikeout there. And that's going to bring up Doug Flynn. Go ahead, run is in scoring position. 129 is a redirect to a 329. 329 is an infield single, so the runner cannot score. It's just an infield single for Flynn. Put runners at the corners with 2 outs. And it's all up to Elliot Maddox in a clutch situation. Elliot Maddox against Reed. 663 turns to a 673. 673, though, is a 1-3 ground out, and that's going to end the inning. But the home run from Montañez ties the score, and at the end of 7, we are tied at 5 apiece and close the book on Carlton. Close the book on Carlton. Carlton's going to go 6 1/3, 11 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, and he will get a no decision. On this is now Ron Reed is the pitcher of record. Marty Cornejo is also the pitcher of record for the Mets as he's coming on. And let's see where he falls in the order. He's 5 batters away, so there will be no double switch here. Not needed. So it will be Harrelson, Boone, and McBride due up for the Phillies. Harrelson will lead it off. He's a 214 hitter. See if they want to use anybody else at second base, perhaps. Do they even have anybody else to play second base? They got Morrison. I don't know how good he is at second base. Let's take a look. Actually, I got Davy Johnson that could play second base. They wanted a pinch hit. Harrelson is 1 for 3, but he is a former Met. So I think they want to give him a chance against this old team. So they will let him hit here in the top of the 8th, 5-5. .173, and that is going to be a bloop single. So Harrelson paid off to let him hit. He gets that bloop single, and now here comes Bob Boone for his first trip. Bob Boone. 345. That's a non-split. It's a pop up to first. So Bob Boone pops it up to Montañez. 1 away for Bake McBride, top of the order, against Marty Cornejo. 291, and unfortunately for Marty Cornejo, a 291 against the lefty is a deep drive to right field. Bake McBride is a 5. We're going to add 5 to this right here and see what happens. We get a 9. That's a total of 14. It's just a deep fly to right, so no damage done. McBride, warning track power. 2 down for Larry Boa. .324, and that's going to be an infield single for Larry Boa. Keeps the inning going. First and second, 2 down for the dangerous Mike Schmidt. Schmitty doubled his single and doubled. He's 2 for 4. That's a 199, and that's a bloop double. Bloop double. That scores the run. Coming in is Harrelson. The Phillies take the lead on the bloop double by Schmidt. Boa. Well, with 2 outs, let's see, does that, it doesn't give a position though, so you can't challenge because it doesn't give a position. Bloop double, unless there's a rule here in bloop with 2 outs that he scores automatically. Let me check my charts here. Bloop hits with 2 outs. It's a long double, double plus. So let's see here, double plus. Let me check my notations. All runners score. So it is a bloop double. All runners do score. Okay, with 2 outs, all runners score. So Boa does score as well. It's a 2-run double. And the score is now 7-5 Phillies. 2-run double from Mike Schmidt. Everyone scores, correct. So Cornejo thought he was going to get out of it, but he couldn't. Here's Luzinski. That's a 528. That's bad news for the catcher, Stearns. Probably a walk or a pass ball. 528 is a pass ball, so that's going to move the runner to third. Luzinski. 380. And that's a deep fly to center field, but it's going to end the inning as the third out. But 2 runs come in off of Cornejo. It might be all for Cornejo as well. I think it is. He's going to pitch 1 inning, give up 3 hits and 2 runs. They were all earned. No walks, no strikeouts. He is a loser of record right now, is Cornejo. Skip Lockwood is loosening the bullpen for the Mets. He would pitch the 9th. Ron Reed back out for the Phillies. He is subject to fatigue now, so we got to keep an eye on that. He'll be facing top of the order, Randall, Mazzilli, and Henderson. Switch, and a right. That's a 115, redirect to a 315, and that's a strikeout. So Randall's out on strikes. Here's Mazzilli. 471 against the righty. 471 is going to be a triple for Lee Mazzilli. A 471 is a triple for Lee Mazzilli. And that'll send up Steve Henderson. Infield is back. They're up by 2 runs. They want to make sure they get outs. They'll give up the run to get the out. Try to prevent a big inning. 161. 161 is a fly to left field. Now, fly to left. No runners advance. It was not deep enough. You have to have a plus there to be able to tag up. So Henderson flies to left, but it's not deep enough. And what I'm looking at right here is the F7. It says no runners advance. And that's what we had on the 161. We had a F7, no runners advancing. So now it's up to Montañez. 2 outs, runner at third. Montañez homered his last time up. 266, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Ron Reed strikes out Montañez to end the inning. And we go to the 9th. Score still 7-5. Favor of the Phils. That's it for Ron Reed. He's done. Reed will go an inning and 2/3. He will give up 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. And it looks to be that they will go to the Phillies, that is, assuming they don't blow it out and make it a non-save situation. They will be going to Tug McGraw in the 9th. Tug McGraw will be coming in the 9th. Right now, the Mets need a new pitcher. And that new pitcher is Skip Lockwood. That leaves Metzger and Siebert as the only 2 in the bullpen remaining. So Skip Lockwood going to come on, try to keep the score where it is. He is the 5th Mets pitcher to be used. And he'll be facing Hebner, Maddox, and a pinch hitter for Reed, because with the pitcher spot is now the number 7 position. So we need a pinch hitter for Reed for the Phillies. And it looks like it's going to be Jay Johnstone coming in. He's the only lefty on the bench. So Jay Johnstone will pick up a bat and hit for Ron Reed. So it'll be Hebner, Maddox, and Johnstone for the Phillies. In the top of the 9th, they lead it 7-5. Skip Lockwood in to try to keep it that way. That's a 343, and that's going to be an infield single for Richie Hebner. His 2nd hit of the game brings up Gary Maddox. 193, and that's going to be a wild pitch. It's going to move the runner to 2nd. That takes the double play out of the equation. So that's where that hurt. 282 against the righty. 282 was a deep drive to left field. Maddox's power is a 5. Deep drive to left. We're going to add these 2 to the 5. And we get a 7, so that's a total of 12. That's a deep fly to right. I'm sorry, to left. But the runner on third can try to move. The runner on second cannot. So it's just a fly to left. And now Jay Johnstone, the pinch hitter. He will pinch hit for Ron Reed against Lockwood. 581 should be an easy play for Mazzilli. 581 it is. The runner on, if there's a runner on third, he'd have to challenge, but there's no runner on third, so just a regular fly out to center for out number 2, and Johnstone is out of there. And here's Harrelson. .330, and he's going to strike out to end the inning. So Lockwood, despite the leadoff single, gets out of it. 1 inning pitch to hit, nothing else, and a strikeout. Last chance saloon, we go to the bottom of the 9th. And you got to believe that Tug McGraw is going to come on and try to save it. Tug McGraw. And he'll be facing a pinch hitter for the pitcher. Pinch hitter for Lockwood. As we are at the pitcher spot. So on the bench, Hodges and Ferrer, whatever his name is, how you pronounce it. He's a 212 hitter, is Ferrer. Hodges is 255, so despite being left-handed, I think you still have to go with Hodges here. So Hodges will be your pinch hitter. You got to go with who you have. So Hodges is the pinch hitter. It'll be Hodges, Stearns, and Youngblood due up for the Mets. .452 against the left-hander. .452 is a 3-6-1 double play, so it's 3 unassisted off the bat of Hodges, so there's 1 away. And that'll bring up John Stearns. Big John. 615 turns to a 625, but that's going to be a pop up to second. 2 down. It's all up to Joel Youngblood. .240 against the right-hander is going to be a ground out to end the inning and the ball game. Phillies will win it by the score of 7-5. I believe RJL said it was a 9-4 in real world that the Phillies won. So 7-5 is not too bad of a job by the Mets to keep it close. Get the totals. All right, McGraw gets credit for the save as he goes 1 inning, gives up nothing. Winning pitcher is Ron Reed. Loser is Cornejo. So for the Phillies, they check in with 7 runs, and they pounded out 15 hits. I don't believe there were any errors in the game period for the Phillies. There was 1 for the Mets. Mets made 1, Phillies made none. Left on base for the Phillies. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 left on. I've got for the Phillies. Got them for 10 left on. Mets get 13 hits to go with their 5 runs. Let's see how many they left on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got them for 11 left on base. So that is your final tally. The Phillies defeat the Mets 7-5. 7 runs, 15 hits, no errors, and 10 left for the Phillies. 5 runs, 13 hits, 1 error, and 11 left for the Mets. Winning pitcher was Ron Reed. The loser was Nate Cornejo, and Tug McGraw picks up the save. Next Saturday, we will be in Fenway Park for the Detroit Tigers against the Boston Red Sox. So back to the American League next week on the NBC Game of the Week. So hope you all enjoyed that presentation. I do appreciate all of you who gave me rules help on the as I was playing. That definitely um, gives me a sense of security, and the more I played, obviously, hopefully the better I'll get with it. But it does take just repetition, I think, like anything else. And remember, I'm also playing inside pitch and Stratomatic at the same time. So when you start playing multiple games, it's hard to concentrate on just the one game rules. You start to sometimes these things start running together. So you got to be careful about that. But anyway, thanks to everybody. Hope your Memorial Day weekend is off to a good start. Stay safe out there if you're going to do picnics or whatever on Sunday or Monday. And enjoy the hobby as much as you can. Play whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it. And as Tabby would say, have a good weekend, and we'll see you down the road.